What is up, everybody? Welcome into the Mile High Sports pregame show for Game 3, Denver Nuggets and Oklahoma City Thunder. I got my guy, Gordon Gross, here. It is an all Denver Stiff show. I'm Zach Mikash, here with Gordon Gross. He's live from a call center in India.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly how it feels. But yes, I am here, and how may I service you today?
Right. Right. Well, first, Gordon, I think let's talk about it. You got to write the recap on Denver Stiffs about game 2. Didn't go how the Nuggets had hoped.
I mean,
Um,
that was an easy recap, man. I could stop watching at halftime and just be like, and they did nothing else interesting the rest of the game. Final thoughts, don't play like that next time.
Right, yeah,
Like,
it was there's not a ton you can draw
no,
from that game, right? I mean
no.
the
Nor should
Nuggets,
you. Nor should
yeah,
you.
yeah, and do you almost though just chalk it up to it's close to like a schedule loss as
Right.
you can get, right, in the NBA playoffs with them already securing home court advantage. They won game 1, right, against the Thunder, and then coming off game 7, now you're playing a game every other night for this whole series. You've basically your work is already done in Oklahoma City.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't know. It felt like that game was very likely to go the way it did.
Well, it was a. It's. I mean, it's an emotional letdown game. You got the one you needed. Like, I totally understand it. That makes perfect sense to me. That the Thunder had a number of things to prove, and especially after the Celtics choked again, every person in the Oklahoma City Thunder locker room was like, "We are not going out like that."
Right.
So I understand that, and the Nuggets. I know Adamant said he wasn't going to chalk it up, that he wasn't going to just
Said
flush
he
it
wouldn't
to get
flush
rid of
it.
it. Yeah, he said we wouldn't flush it, which is fine. I get that, because the important thing is that the Nuggets keep having this habit of having to get into gear. That they
Yeah.
don't really start chasing guys down until the end of the first, start of the second, and that's a really late time to get into a game against a potential champion with the Oklahoma City Thunder. You got to get it from the jump.
Right.
So I would like to see that. But also, I mean, I watched I remember I think the Bulls lost to the Jazz by, 30 points in the finals one time. And you just shrug it off, man. Like, at some point,
Right.
this is not
Well,
reflective of us. It's not that big a deal. Like, I think those kind of losses are easier for teams to just and just move on with it than like a close buzzer beater kind of a loss.
yeah, exactly. And I mean, we've seen the Nuggets. This has already happened this playoffs, right? They lost that game to the
Yeah.
Clippers, game 3, to the Clippers. It was, I don't know, it wasn't quite as bad as they lost this one, but
Nothing as
still
bad
a
as they
big,
lost this one.
yeah,
Yeah.
still a big loss though. And then they came back, won games 4 and 5. So yeah, I certainly don't think you shouldn't be acting like the series is over. I mean, for all intents and purposes, the Nuggets are still in the driver's seat of this series. They still
Yes.
have home court advantage. I think what happens though in that game 2 is, like we said, they were probably kind of come out a little bit sluggish just
Right.
naturally given the scenario. And then on the flip side, you have Oklahoma City, who is like very desperate, right? Like you said, they just saw
Right.
Cleveland lose again to Indiana, go down 2-0 with Indiana going back to Indiana. So I think they knew the stakes. Shea even said that after the game. He said everybody knew the stakes, going into this one. And so you could expect them to come out with desperation, with energy. The Nuggets come out flat. They come out really high. Like I mean, they got down by like 25 in the first quarter. It was
Yeah.
done pretty much from the
Well,
jump.
and the thing is, the Oklahoma City Thunder are devastating on both sides of the ball.
Right.
So, or can be. So when they do that at the same time, if they're going to shoot 77% in the first half or whatever, like, what are you going to do about it? Like, there's at
Yeah.
some point you just go, okay, that's shooting variance. For me, it's not a lot different than when Booker and KD were just making every shot in Phoenix, and you go,
Yeah.
okay, well, you can't do that for 4 games. Now, maybe the Thunder can do it; they are that good, but
Yeah.
I do expect the blowout losses for the Nuggets in this series and close wins. Like,
Yeah.
that I expect will be the pattern. I don't think the Nuggets are going to be blowing out Oklahoma City anytime soon. So just got to buckle up and keep up, which means,
Right.
like I said, getting out from the jump, stop messing around in the first 5 minutes of the game, show up and go
Not
compete early.
not fouling out in 3 quarters. Right. What?
Look, And the refs didn't help that game either. There's
No, yeah,
not the refs that make it a loss, but it certainly pushes the balance where you have players doing desperate things to try to get calls to try to slow momentum, and they're not getting them, and so the game starts to get warped. It was a very warped game in many senses. So I don't take a lot out of that game, unfortunately. Like, yes, if the Nuggets don't show up, the Nuggets are going to get blown out. Congrats. We're in the playoffs now. This is
yeah,
the big time. That's the number one seed probably in both conferences. If you were asking anybody who's the best is Oklahoma City. So if you want to come to the King, you better get up there and take your swings.
right. Another thing I think, one thing, or at least that I noticed in game two, and like you had, there's not much I draw from it,
Yep.
but one thing that I noticed in game one that I followed up with kind of in game two, and I think we did see is, game one, Chet Holmgren and Isaiah Hartenstein both in foul trouble. They did not play a lot together
Right.
on the court, right? Game two, not quite the same story. They did get an opportunity to play quite a bit more on the court, particularly early on, right? There was no early foul trouble, and they built that huge lead.
Right.
Jokic seemed to struggle with that, which is, kind of by design. I'm sure that was a big reason for bringing Isaiah Hartenstein in, was
Yes.
precisely for this moment in this series.
Yep.
What is the Nuggets counter to that? Because they've struggled to find serviceable bigs to play next to Nikola, essentially his entire career.
Well, the problem that you run into, right, is if you're gonna run the offense through Nicola, then you need to have an ability for the other guys to hit shots. And if the other guys aren't gonna hit shots, then it's gonna make it really tough on him to go one versus both bigs because they're cheating off of your other guys. Um, if there's just no way around needing to get production from all the other guys. And in game one, they got production from Aaron Gordon. They got
Right.
rebounding from everybody.
Right.
Like, I mean, those are the things that you need to have if you're going to go ahead and compete with OKC. In order to defeat their bigs, you have to crash the boards as a team. You have to, getting them in foul trouble is great. I don't mind using Jokic to go at them to see if you can get them in foul trouble, but that can't be your whole offensive plan. At some point, Jamal and Mike and Christian have to hit shots. Like
Right.
that's gonna be important because they're gonna devote a lot of resources to cluttering up the paint, to running box and one to stop Jokic from killing them. He demolished them in game one, and it wasn't even his best game, but he was the unstoppable force. But so was AG. AG with the rebounds and the scoring was huge, and they're gonna need contributions from that going forward because if they're gonna cheat off of him, then he needs to make them pay for that.
You make those shots, right? Yeah, and I think they got to figure out a way, right, for Jamal. In game two, they saw once again Jamal really struggles to scoring the basketball, and it's going to be a struggle, I think, for him no matter what. I mean, Alex Caruso and Lou Dort, that's a deadly
Yep.
combo of guards that they can just go ahead and throw at him, basically, so that the entire time that he's out there, right, he's going to have a very strong defender who's going to probably take him a lot one-on-one, and even if he gets a switch, the way the Thunder are built, whether it's Jalen Williams, whether it's Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, even if he gets a big switched out on him, like Chet Holmgren, like that's still a guy with some athleticism, some ability to recover. If he gets beat on a drive, has got enough length to really kind of take away some of that mid-range fadeaway game. It's a tough matchup for Jamal, but this is the way the Nuggets are built. Like they've got to, and I don't know what it is. Maybe just running him off more off ball, and trying to get some off ball screens to get him free
Screen,
or something
double
like
screen
that.
him. Yeah.
But that's yeah. What do you think? Like, how do they get him going?
Well, and I think for Jamal, you do need to screen him open. You are going to have to have him off ball. I would like him to play more off ball. In game one, he was on ball a lot, and they were just riding him the whole way up the court, and he would make poor passes. Let's be honest, poor passes around to the other guys that were not passing anybody open. He was not directing an offense. He was just on ball, and I would rather them have him off ball, even if that means Russ is bringing it up and Jamal is going to be running off screens and getting open in a Steph kind of way. to go ahead and try to find him some open shots where he can get rhythm shots going, as opposed to trying to get around with Dort, who's beating him up at every opportunity. I think it's going to be very important for them to make life easier for Jamal and freer to free him up from some of that pressure that he was facing.
Yeah, I think like you said, just giving him, I guess, making him more freer, if that's the right word. We'll figure it out. We'll get some a better vocab for it. But yeah, exactly. Getting him just more comfortable and in
Right.
spots that he's comfortable, where he doesn't have to work so hard to get to those spots, and then still taking a pretty contested jumper when he gets there. That will, I think, especially early on, trying to get him going that way.
Yeah.
That was one of the keys in game one. He didn't really finish that game strong, but he did help them in that first quarter
Yep.
really get off to a good start, and that helped keep them close the entire game, because they fell behind in that one too, right? And
Right.
had they not had that first quarter from Jamal, they probably never come close to having that chance at the end to win that one. So getting him free is certainly a big thing, I think. Looking for game three, moving it kind of towards what I'm looking at in game three. I'm wondering, Oklahoma City has not played in Denver since November.
Right.
It's been a long time. Now they come in for their first game in the playoff series. How much do you think is, if at all, is the altitude a factor, and the fact that they're going to be playing here against the team who should have a pretty darn good home court advantage?
Um, I think that depends on how much the Nuggets can get out in transition.
Yeah,
Like, honestly, the Nuggets need to make Oklahoma City run, but I mean, they need them to run backwards. They need them to defend. Like, Oklahoma City's not going to get tired attacking them. So if they're giving up transition buckets to the Thunder, that's not going to wear the Thunder out. Adrenaline overcomes weariness in that sort of a situation.
yeah,
So the Thunder are happy to run if it's to attack the bucket. And so the Nuggets need to take care of the ball, put the ball in the hoop to make the Thunder take it up 94 feet, and you're going to need to go ahead and run every opportunity that you can. You
right,
want them to run backwards. You want them. It's harder to do. It's harder to run back in transition. You want them to give up in transition. You want to get your transition bucket game going. You
right.
need those blocks from Peyton Watson. You need those rebounds from Mike that get kicked ahead early. You need Russell Westbrook to run and finish,
You'd be
not
running
just
off your
run.
inbounds, honestly, like
Yeah, yeah,
enough
run,
made
keep
baskets.
running. Like,
Right,
push them. You got to push them.
right.
And so the Nuggets walking it up is something that they can do when they're tired, and you're trying. If the defense is already set, if the defense is set, walk it up. I don't care. But if their defense isn't set, you better not be letting them get set. The Thunder are outstanding on defense, so
Right.
you need to find weaknesses, and one of those weaknesses is when you have numbers, when they're moving backwards. It's easier to go ahead and get fouled if you're going to the hoop and they are backpedaling. That's
Right.
how you get a foul call. That's how they got it on you all game. So be the aggressor, and that's what I would encourage the Nuggets to do. That's what I hope to see tonight is for them
Yeah.
to attack just from the jump.
Yeah, and that's really it, right? It's that energy from the jump. Like, don't allow Oklahoma City to get themselves into a scenario where they got a big lead,
Right.
and then suddenly now you're kind of trying to play catch up the whole game. Be the one who kind of dictates the pace in this game. Be the one who's controlling the flow, and then even if it's a close game going into that second half, that there's probably a good chance come late third, early fourth, they're going to start to slow down a bit. And that's when you can, as we've seen the Nuggets do plenty of times this year, right? Put on the gas late in the fourth
Yeah.
quarter and end up just closing the team out. Like, to me, that sounds like a recipe for a win. And a lot of it comes to the fact that, like I said, I think you've got an advantage with this being the first game that OKC's played out here in Denver in a bit. But it also, to your point, like, you've got to be able to push the pace and keep the energy high, which means also, like, you can't be expending your energy trying to run back and cover a bunch of transition buckets because you had a bunch of
Right.
live ball turnovers, right? That continues to be another thing that's killed the Nuggets as well. Like, they've got to take care of the basketball, and because sometimes
Yeah.
I think when they try and push the pace, they get their feet get a little bit ahead of the ball, and next thing you know, they have a silly turnover. So they've got to play controlled. But I'm with you. They should be looking to run on every opportunity, and if they can do that, that's going to open up a guy like a Christian Brown or a
Right.
guy like a Peyton Watson, who's probably not going to get a ton of offense against a set Oklahoma City Thunder defense, right? Like you said, I mean, they're a fantastic set defense team. You've got guys like Nikola Jokic and even Jamal Murray, maybe even Michael Porter Jr. Granted, the health thing is a little bit worrisome, and maybe even Aaron Gordon, like in the right matchups. All those guys, they can probably even against a great Oklahoma City defense with the right matchup and the right scenarios, they can create some one-on-one opportunities or create
Right.
opportunities for their teammates. The Christian Browns, the Peyton Watsons, any of these other guys, and to some effect, the Michael Porter Juniors and Aaron Gordons right now, they aren't going to create a ton of opportunities when you're going up against the defense that is set and as strong as this one, right? So you're going to get
Right.
them their opportunities by pushing the ball in transition, getting easy baskets at the layup as layups, and then when you've got Nikola still doing the work in the one-on-one scenarios, when those defenses start collapsing on them, now you got Christian Brown, now you got Peyton Watson feeling confident. They shoot that outside three. That's the recipe for success.
I agree, and I would like to see Aaron Gordon take the ball up court more.
Yeah,
I think they've been missing that, and part of the reason I want to see that is because he is 6'9", and so if you're chasing him or trying to hound him up the court with a guard, all of a sudden you can start screening bigs and get your wings open. You can get your guards open, even just bringing the ball up against a set defense, because their set defense is not used to having to deal with the four on the ball, bringing the
right.
ball across half court. Like, you have to find ways to set matchups to get what you want. Like, the Nuggets have to get the looks that they want. They don't want to get the looks that Oklahoma City wants to give them. Yes,
Right.
Joker can convert those. Okay, yes, a hot Murray can convert those. But you don't want to bet on those.
Right.
Your guys are injured. Your guys have some stuff going on. You want them to you want to get the most advantageous shots you can get. And so
Yeah.
I hope that the Nuggets can figure out how to hunt their kind of matchups. Not that Oklahoma City has bad defenders that you can take advantage of. They really don't. But you want to make sure that if you're defending Nicola with Caruso, then he's probably got the advantage there. Like,
Yeah.
that's a nice mismatch for you. So it doesn't matter how good a defender he is; he just can't do the job that you're asking him to do. Same with Chet chasing Jamal around. That's not going to work for them. So you've
Right.
got to find ways to get your mismatches and hunt for gaps in their defense. And I'm hoping to see some of that schemed up tonight, because there wasn't a lot of scheming going on in game two, and there was a lot of save us Nicola going on in game one. So, certainly in the second half. So I'm hoping to see some actual,
Right.
game planning after we've now seen two sets of defenses that they've thrown at us. I want to see some punchback at home with the crowd and the momentum.
Yeah, it's I think it's a good point. Is you got to be looking at Nikola Jokic first and foremost as being your guy who's going to still carry your offense, but you can't rely on him slowly. And I think one of the things that the Nuggets have struggled with so far is they haven't found that Bogdanovich, right? Where
Right.
here's a guy who, like, we can target that, we can work a couple of picks, get the switches that we want till we get that guy matched up against Jamal or against Russell Westbrook, somebody who we think can really take him off the dribble and get to the rim. And then even when they have found those opportunities, Chet Holmgren is something, is a new angle that you didn't really face. As good as Ivica Zubac is like a one-on-one defender in the post against
Right.
Jokic, he's not what you would consider like a plus rim protector, like weak side shot help
He's not a
kind of
weak
guy.
side help blocker. Right.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. Whereas like Chet, one of the best in the league at that. So that, I think they're struggling to find that layer of their offense where they can get to the basket off the dribble from the perimeter. That sort of takes away some of that two-man game action as well.
Right.
Because Jamal's not having as much success getting into the paint. They've got to find some counters to that, and it really is going to be, I think, leaning on these other guys to make shots. Like it's going to come down to the matchups that you want, or like a Christian Brown, getting open off of a cut or off of a screen and having a corner three, or
Right.
cutting and getting Shea Gilgeous-Alexander behind him, and then being able to finish at the basket. Like these are the things that they got to kind of look for. Uh, and they haven't quite got it there just yet. Like you said, I mean, game one was really just Nikola Jokic going into superhuman mode and winning you a basketball. Game two, you don't show up for. So you've now seen though the Thunder for 2 games. What adjustments are you going to make on offense to go ahead and uh, get that help that Nikola needs? Because you can't just count on him to be like a 40+ point scorer every single night. Like it's not going to work that way. They've got to get some other help. I think they do it. Like I said, it's Jamal probably too, as well as the one that they got to get figured out the most. And I don't know that there's a good solution there. Like the problem I think that they face a lot too is the best solution they have for a guy to help out with scoring would be Michael Porter Jr.,
Yes.
right? Like he's the mismatch that they have, but
Yep.
he's only got one shoulder.
He's got one
So,
arm. Yeah.
I mean, do you still feed him? He's had two rough games in a row. Do you still feed him, or is that a guy? Because if he can't make shots, he only has one arm to rebound. He can't even get the left shoulder, the left hand like higher than this.
Yes.
So if he can't make shots, do you consider like going with Peyton Watson or going with somebody else in the lineup and just resting him?
Well, your problem is you can't rest him because the next guy up is who? Zeke? Like you
Yeah.
can't. Like he's gonna play. So the question is, how best does he play? Even if he can't shoot, if the Thunder respect his shooting, that opens the floor up for you. Like defensively, if they have to put a guy out there on him, closely defending him, because they can't leave him open like Russell. Like if Westbrook is out there, they're not guarding Westbrook at the 3 point line.
No.
That's just their solution is we're gonna rotate everybody over to go hound Jamal and bother Nicola, and then the other guys, good luck. Like Christian Brown is not a comfortable catch and shoot guy, and Russ is a willing catch and shoot guy, but he's
But he's not. We
it,
we don't want to be willing to have him catch and shoot.
right. AG can do it. AG has done it
Yeah.
all year, but you're probably going to have him going into the paint because you need him
Right.
down there.
Right. Yeah, that's the
So
problem with that is you pull him out of where he's best to have him shoot 3 pointers.
right. So the guy you need out there is Mike, and I agree with you. You got to have Mike make shots. And Mike has done that in these playoffs, even with this injury. So it's not like he has been useless out on the court as a shooter since the injury. He can still shoot. So I personally believe you have to leave him out there for spacing and to have someone to kick the ball out to. But Mike cannot play like he played in game one even,
Yeah.
where he wasn't going hard for a rebound. He just sort of reached for it, and he was not making his defensive rotations. And there was a pass
Like
across half court that got messed up.
flat-footed in transition.
Right? Yeah, I
Like,
can't be doing that. So like, as long as Mike is in the game, like the pain is not too much. As long as he's able to be in the game, have his head in the game, and be shot ready, then Mike's got to play. Mike's got to be out there because he is your threat that cannot be defended the way that they defend Jamal.
yeah.
Like, if you get up in MPJ's grill, he's 6 inches taller than Lou Dort. What does he care?
Right.
Like
Exactly.
his
Shoot right
shot,
over.
yeah, his shot's a foot above wherever Lou can even reach to. It's not a big deal. So
Yeah.
whereas Jamal is a physical guard who's not the quickest, and he's facing a more physical guard,
Right.
slash wing who's defending him, and then you have Caruso hanging around who can do the same sorts of stuff. So they can just beat Jamal up, but you don't defend Mike that way.
Right.
Like he is a forward. He's bigger than you.
Right.
So I would like him to be able to help more with rebounding, but again, you don't know what's going on with the arm. But the Nuggets rebounded great in game one. They
Yeah. That's true.
obliterated the Thunder on the boards. And so you have to really point to that and go, we have to do that again. You have to box guys out. If Jamal is on Chet, Jamal better be boxing Chet out and pushing him backwards because Chet weighs 185 pounds, and Jamal should be able to move him. Like
Right.
I need that sort of stuff to happen. They
Right.
they have to they have to have team focus on the rebounding, on taking care of the ball, on being where you need to be. There has to be a lot more focus in this game. And like you
Yeah.
said, I don't take that away from game two. Game two is not a game to make judgments on, but you can't come out in game three the way you came out in game two.
Right. Right. All right. We'll tell you what. We'll go ahead. We'll wrap it up here with some game predictions. But before I do that, I just want to make sure remind everybody we're going to be down at number 38 here on Sunday. This Sunday, 1 p.m. We're going to have a live show down there for you guys. Pre-tip. I think the tip off is about 1:30. Check us out. Cool, great prizes. Got a live DJ, good food, good drink specials, everything you guys could want over there in Rhino. So make sure on Chestnut Place, make sure you guys check it out. There it is. Look at that. Sean Drotar with
There it
the
is.
crowd out on the patio, looking like good weather this weekend. Beautiful day in Denver. So come join us down at number 38. We're going to be watching the game, having a good time. All right, Gordon, what is going to be your official game 3 prediction? Do the Nuggets pull it off and go up 2-1, or are they heading into a must-win game 4
No,
situation?
I think the Nuggets probably take this one. I'm thinking I think it's going to be a long series. And I don't expect the Nuggets to be on their heels quite yet. So I'm going to go 115, 107 Nuggets.
115, 107. That's not bad. That's 115 might be a tall order
It's big
against Oklahoma City.
scoring.
Now they did get what 121 in game 1, so we know they can do it. I think they're going to win as well. This is a team that has shown time and again, especially coming off of a bad loss, an embarrassing loss, that they've come back and been really strong, including we've seen it happen in Oklahoma City after
Yeah.
losing a game and then playing them immediately the next day. The Nuggets came back and pretty much controlled that game number 2 in that back-to-back against Oklahoma City earlier this year. So I think they bounce back. I don't know if they get 115. I'm going to call it 109-99.
All
We
right,
get
you
the
called it for the
under.
Munder. All right.
That's right. Can we call it the under anymore? Is it the DA under? I don't know. We'll work on it. We'll workshop that. Make sure you guys are following us over on Twitter. I'm at Zach Mikash. Gordon is at GMoneyNugs, at Mile High Sports, and at Denver Stiffs. Check us out on denverstiffs.com and milehighsports.com as well for great Nuggets coverage and Denver sports in general. And otherwise, we will talk to you guys again here and game 4.
Got it.